Well, let's start with the cost of the war. Ukraine's farmers are facing a growing cash flow crisis as disruptions to Black Sea exports leave them with fewer buyers for this year's harvest. Now, agriculture accounts for nearly 60% of Ukraine's export revenues, making grain shipments critical to the wartime economy. Farmers say that storage facilities are filling up as exports from Odessa face major disruptions, while domestic grain prices remain too low to cover production costs.
The scariest thing right now is that we have nowhere to put this grain. And today, with the blockade Russia is imposing on Odessa and its ports, through which we used to export about 4.5 million tons, this is truly a disaster for all farmers.
The immediate concern is not just selling this year's crop, but generating enough income to finance autumn fieldwork and plant winter crops for next year. Ukraine remains a major global supplier of wheat and corn. So, prolonged export disruptions could also put pressure on global food supplies.
If Ukraine does not sow its crops today, if Ukraine does not sow rapeseed, which is needed by the Poles and the Germans, does not sow its wheat, does not sow its winter crops, and does not prepare the soil for spring work, then in a year's time we will see a clear food crisis.
In Russia, the impact of Ukrainian strikes on oil refineries is spreading from fuel markets to the wider transport sector. Fuel prices have risen 16 to 18% in the past month, according to logistic operators, while transport costs for some companies have increased by around 5%.
While fuel prices have risen by 16% to 18% over the past month, the impact on our cost base has been around 4.5% to 5.5%. Naturally, companies have to watch their margins and look for ways to save money. Drivers keep each other informed. There are apps, maps, and Telegram channels where they share information about where fuel is available, where the queues are shorter, and which filling stations have just received large fuel deliveries.
The fuel squeeze is also affecting one of Russia's most important trade corridors, shipments from China. Transport costs between China and Moscow have risen by roughly 20 to 25% from May and early June levels. Road transport becomes more expensive and unreliable. Demand for direct rail shipments has risen to 18 to 20%, while demand for sea transport is up 10 to 12%. Industry players expect freight rates to remain elevated even if fuel supplies normalize, as companies try to recover losses from the disruption.
We believe that even if the situation normalizes and fuel supplies in the region become sufficient again, the rates are likely to come down by no more than 7% to 10%. That's because transport companies will want to recover at least part of the losses they incurred as a result of lower load factors and reduced fleet utilization.